A very big welcome to you, my dear Leo. So the sun is in Pisces, and Pisces is the moon. And so you, who is ruled by the sun, is getting the light through the sun, which is now in Pisces, and you are gonna feel that. You're gonna feel the energy of the subconscious in the sun, right? The sun now bringing a full light to the subconscious, to hear the past lives. This is Osho's Centauro. We have the two hands forming a vagina, and in that we recognize how we come again and again into this life, and this is in our subconscious. Our subconscious knows about that, and your lion, wild, instinctive side knows that. Yeah, this is always very like, okay, what's going on? So you, the strength card, Leo. Now the moon is in your sign, in the strength, in Leo, in the sun. Pisces, which is the moon, and of course ruled by Neptune, the dream world, is in the sun. And so the oxymoron begins very strong here with this reading. I didn't have that with Cancer, right, before that, but Cancer also is connected with the moon, and the moon now in the sun. It's very interesting what it does to you, right, when something is in the opposite energy, and so we get challenged. Now here in the good tarot, he's really going to the left, and you just had your full moon, because Aquarius is your opposite sign, and Aquarius gives you the light. And so now the path is instinctively going back to the new moon, back to where sun and new moon are both in your sign. In the full moon, it's only you who is getting the full light from Aquarius to see what's there left from your past lives, but do not dwell in it. That's what Osho says. It's not, oh, I had this past life, and bragging about it and actually occupying yourself with it too much, right? Maybe look at it and then let it go. It's the past. That's why we don't have eyes in the back of our head, right? We have eyes to the future. But more lives are waiting maybe to be lived. And the two salamanders, which are connected always with the fire signs, is actually here the guardian of the conscious and the subconscious. So Pisces, being ruled by Neptune, the dreamer, is gonna bring you more clarity in that subconscious, and you, who is now of course ruled by the sun, is in the moon, or the moon is in your sign, is visiting you for 2 days. And so you will see that this is interesting. You are the lion's breath, Simhasana, lion's roar. Very good for you to do that, and then come into the infinite understanding of the empowerment of the strength that then comes to you. And of course for Pisces, fish pose, and here I have up and downward dog as the guardians that looking into the portal, right? That brings us here an understanding that there are energies that we don't see, but they exist. So this moment exists once a year for 2-3 days. But if we include all the other planets, this moment exists only once in your life. You are the king of fire. And we can see here that you have a big heart, the sun, and you are a Zen master. And that Zen energy comes to you in a very beautiful and natural way, right? You know how to harness the fire. You are the 5th house of fun and play. And of course, as Leo, you are an extroverted energy. And this extroverted energy is like the roar. You show what is your territory, right? It's important that you connect. And so if your birthday is between July 13 and August 12, then he is your court card. If not, please look in the description below. I have listed all of them. So Leo full moon, where Aquarius sun gave you the light. Yes, you can be a star. So show up and let it shine. And here we had, through Uranus, Scorpio coming and pushing some buttons. And you came up as well, right here on the Empress. So yes, you can be a star, so show up and let it shine. Let's see now what Neptune brings, because Neptune is also ruling the Hanged Man. And for the Hanged Man, I have the Creativity Oracle. Because Pisces is the 12th house of spirituality and art. And to be creative, right, means that you are tapping into source. And when we tap into source, it's like, okay, this is my vision. This is how I see. Oops, it's that one. Okay. As you can see, it's really an art piece. These cards are made of fabric, photographed, and so they're very beautiful. Details. Examine your situation and take care of every detail one step at a time. The 32. 3, the Empress. 2, the High Priestess. So 2 very powerful women that are letting you know, examine the details. Become aware of what you truly is seeing. Is it an eye? Is it just an art piece? Is it just a circle? And then take care of every detail, one step at a time. And so here, the number 5, and of course the Hanged Man, which is the 12. We have here the Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess. You are called to awaken to the details. That's when we enlighten, when we come in the enlightenment, we become aware of so many more things that before we weren't aware of. And so the 12 turns into a 3, the 5 and the 3 is the 8. You. It's saying you are now going back inwards, and inwards you have to look at the details, have to look at what is it here that you need to examine, right? because you are the 5th house of joy and fun. So the 5 is directly speaking to you. The 5 is also the 5 senses, the 5 fingers. And the 5 senses are attaching us to this dimension, and the 6th sense, the 3rd eye, is the way out into the other dimension, into awakening. Awakening, going upside down, and really awaken then to your true power. So here the 8 very clearly is letting you know what is happening. And on the position of the Fool, which is connected with Uranus, comes the Chariot. And she is going into the details. Outwards, you're still a little like, okay, last time you had the full moon, so you're still more extroverted. Meanwhile, the Fool is facing the left and is literally calling to recognize now an emotional intelligence that then can create art, right? That can then become a creative outlet for these emotional feelings. And she's holding here the apple, or the world, and the scepter, right? And so it's almost like the artist was creating what she's holding here in her hand. And it's like she is literally like, okay, yes, I want to create this. I want to create a new perspective of what I'm holding here in my hand, what I see. It's almost like we're getting a vision of what she is seeing here. So the 7 is then, like I said, the emotional intelligence. It's then the crown chakra, is that awakening, and you begin to be truly intelligent on an emotional level. And in that emotional intelligence, you can create art and you can see the details and have fun in it. Then on the position of the Magician, which is connected with Mercury, comes the mystical Shaman. The 38. Now have a look. She's going to the right and he is looking to the left. And looking to the left is the sign that you are introverted, soulful, knowing, here I find my strength so that I can express it to the outer world into art. Now there is an 8 here, right? Here the 8 appeared by calculating it together. The 38 is an 11, and that's the Master. That's the Magician with the 1. We have 3 times the 1. You become powerful, right? This portal, 3 times 1, is become powerful in knowing what the 1 means, that union means. The 11 is the inner teacher appears. The inner teacher is letting you know it's time to go back to your new moon. It's time to actually also go introverted while you're going extroverted out, creating art or being creative in the way you see the details now. You are at the same time also understanding there is something deep within you that is listening now to the 2 of Wands, because that's what the mystical Shaman is bringing you. The 2 of Wands is connected with Mars in Aries. And so Mars in Aries is saying that she is asking the ancestor for help in how we do fire. But because it's going to the left, your intuition isn't yet developed as much as it should be. So that's why the mystical shaman is appearing and bringing you now the power to really listen. I'm going to put the emotional intelligence down, noticing now that here 3 times the 1 and the 2 could be a date, the 2nd of November or the 11th of February. Could be now that you feel the need to ask your ancestors for help in how to use the fire, which is your element, in how to harness the fire so that it doesn't consume you. And you find the answer inwards. And that's why the mystical shaman has come up, right? Because he is the shaman, the magician. He is the shaman. So 3 times the 1 and the 2, right? So that could be a date. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes the 3 of Pentacles. And the 3 of Pentacles is connected with Mars in Capricorn. So here we have a 5 again, right? You had here the 5. And so create circles. Build something, right? That the triangle that's pointing upwards is like we build something out of the money. And she is facing here this new building out of an understanding that the duality has challenged you here, and you are looking deeper within, that you can now build something new in your intuition. The way you see intuition, you can build something and then use really the fire in a way that it makes sense, because you are, right, fire. You are air and fire. And so it's important that you understand what's happening here, that you are introverted, going back in, but you also have now the emotional intelligence that goes out, that goes extroverted, because that's where we use it. We use it on ourselves, but also with others. Then on the position of the Empress comes the Magician. And the Magician has all 4 elements on his table. He has 3 legs, and he has 1 flower down here. And the Empress says, well, then you can give birth to magic. Then you can handle all 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. And the 4 appears, which is the Emperor, and the Emperor is the Queen of Wands. And so you are feeling the 5 as now again the joy, by creating something through your intuition, creating and building something substantial, a business or anything that you feel is worth it, because it's the Lord of material work. So keep working on your intuition, keep working on being stable and giving birth again and again, because that's what the 3 is all about. But Mars in Capricorn, it's kind of like, well, I want to build something. And then here, of course, the Empress, which is connected with Venus, we have here the Magician. Then you create magic. And magic is then, through Venus, love and beauty, and also the money. Things will come because you understand how to create with the 4 elements something substantial, something that is important. How much can one person do in one lifetime? When he's quite awake, he can do a lot. But most people are asleep. Most people are not believing that they can create something in a lifespan, right? Back then, a lifespan was like 50, 60 years, or maybe even 40. People died much earlier, so what were they able to achieve? So it was very important to give that to the children. It was like almost forced upon them. And that's why, right, a lot of children were like unhappy, because it's like, Dad, this is not my calling, that was your calling. But the money that your ancestors have built helped you, of course, continue building further and further. So then on the position of Leo, the strength, comes the Six of Pentacles. And it's kind of like, it's almost like he's looking over there, he's seeing the deer, and he's seeing the antlers, and in the antlers hangs the money, and the antlers is the sixth sense, is the third eye. And in the third eye we recognize the power to create. Now when I calculate all this together, we get the 14. The 14 is temperance, and temperance is then coming into a balance between the masculine and the feminine, melting, right, the two cups, and the 14 turns into a 5 again. And so here, since this is with Leo, the moon is in Leo, you are able to look a little deeper into the total balance of a financial understanding. This is connected with moon in Taurus, and Taurus are the banks and the finances. And to see then here also a certain maturity, right, that the 6 brings. And the 6 is self-love, a self-love that then can create this kind of balanced perspective outwards, because he's looking out, right? And so the 5 is here, and we had the 5 here. The 5 senses. Notice the 5 senses. Important. Then on the position of the King of Fire comes the 6 of Swords. Now here you have a 6-6 portal. And the 6 of Swords in the 5th house of joy creates the 11. The teacher appears and the learning begins. The uplifting begins. The voyage begins. The voyage towards knowledge. The voyage towards knowing that the swords are connected always with learning, thinking. And of course here this is Mercury in Aquarius. And Aquarius is your opposite sign. Aquarius gave you the light in your full moon. So the inner teacher appears, and the inner teacher is saying learn. Learn now again to go back in, because you were out. You expressed yourself outwards. You expressed your emotional intelligence outwards. And now you are called to go back within. The mystical shaman is bringing that clearly to you through the 3x1 portal. That's where the true empowerment lies. But also you know that you need to go in both directions. You need to go introverted and extroverted. But here the message is now you are learning to really see that you learn through the new technology, because that's what Mercury brings, right? Mercury is the mystical shaman as well, the magician. Mercury is bringing the information. Mercury is the communication, is the messenger, and the messenger brings you the 6 of Swords. So a 6-6 portal. In the financial section you go out, you're making your money, but then on a spiritual level you go in, introverted, and you're learning. Very beautiful. Then on the position of Sun in Pisces comes you. And you see here he sits, and I was reading it. Osho says he has harnessed the fire. He knows what to do with the fire and is content sitting here, the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is the Zen master, and here you also the Zen master. And in that knowledge, right, you know deep within that this was your calling to be this Zen master now. The 18 plus the 5 is then the 23. The 23 is the reverse of the 32, but it's also the 5 again. And so the 5 is left, the 5 senses. Learn the 5 senses, or learn that you are really the 5th house of joy and fun, and bring that again into your life. Bring that as an extroverted, but in a very Zen-like fashion. Controlled. I just saw Jiddu Krishnamurti speaking about when we get to this kind of state of consciousness, we are very focused. We are focused on the details, and we are not getting lost in the details. We are learning. We are focusing in a good way. And so I think you coming up, it's very beautiful, right? Because it's like, yes, you know that this life is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Whatever lesson you're learning in this life, you have overcome them, and you have brought yourself into a mastery, because you are the creator. I mean, how much more powerful can it get? Then on the position of the moon comes here then the crossing, the initiation. And he can go further to the left, inwards to the new moon. Only the creator has the light within that can see the light, the portal, the bridge, to go deeper within to the new moon. So here we have the 54, which is then again the 5 senses, or the 5th house of joy, and the 4, the emperor. The 9 appears when we calculate it together, and the 9 is then the inner alchemist, the hermit, the completion. And so the 18 turns into a 9, a 9-9 portal, brings you then forward. And where does it bring you? To you again. Look at this. So you cross the portal when you arrive in that Zen-like energy, knowing that the fire that you're harnessing is inside of you, the light, the creativity, the art, right? Or the details that you are now observing. And so in that detail, you are taking one step at a time. And one step at a time you are crossing. And the initiation is then to be this shaman of wands. Look at him. Look at these two. One looks like this, and the other one looks like this. And the other one looks like this. Here you are 3 times. Look at that. It's like body, mind, and soul are understanding now who you are and why certain things are the way they are. Because you're powerful. You're the creator. You're the king of fire. Your heart is powerful. Your mind is powerful. You shine. Let that energy shine. And so here you appear. Look at this. It's like, yes. So The 9 and the 5 is the 14, and the 14 again, temperance. Know how to play with the fire. And then the 5 is left. The 5 is again the 5th house of joy and fun. And that's where you're going. That's where the destiny is, right? Towards you. Because then, on the position of the sun, which is ruling you, and which is now in Pisces, right? And Pisces brought you the creator. And here we had the 6 of coins, right? So here the 9 and the 6 is the 15, which is Capricorn, which is your career, your social status is going inwards now, learning more, understanding more. But here the 19 turns into a 10, and here we have the 16. The 16 is the Tower, and here she sleeps like a goddess, taking her time, because the 16 calculated together gets a 7, the emotional intelligence. For your emotional intelligence, you need to sleep, but certain things need to go, right? Need to leave, so that you are not prisoner of the way you act sometimes in that Mars energy, because you had here Mars in Aries and you had here Mars in Capricorn. But that's how we build things, through taking action, right? The creator taking action, but also in action, also inwards to the new moon. Take that moment and sleep. So the 10 and the 7 is 17 is Aquarius, the star. Yes, you can be a star, so show up and let it shine. Show up and do the work and let it shine. Go and take that initiation and know that you can sleep, because you love to sleep. Cats sleep so much. Then you are the 17 here. Then you are the star. The sun is a dwarf star. You're already a star, but now you can become the big star here. And then the 8 is left. The 8. Always you here, the 8, right? The strength comes out of that. And of course I wanted to know, what do you do here when you sleep? What is this mountain or this clarity bring you? And it's bringing you temperance. Temperance is Sagittarius. Temperance is uniting the water and the fire. Look at that, the fire here and the borealis here. And she's dancing, the goddess is dancing. When you're crossing and after you have slept enough, then she's dancing, right? And so the 17, then the 8, plus the 5 is the 13. And the 13 is the biggest transformation we can go through. Is death, is Scorpio. And Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. And Pluto has moved into Aquarius. It's going to be there for 20 years. But it's in September going quickly back into Capricorn. Right into here, the 15, Capricorn, the devil, the attachment, or the cutting off of the source. And you see we're going inwards to go to the source. It's not outwards where we find the source. Outwards is the money and the material world, and you know what we do in the outer world. It's important what we do here, that we manage this life here, but inwards is where we find our true grandeur, and that true grandeur can then dance and enjoy itself. And the 13 turns into a 4, and the 4 is again then here Mars in Aries, knowing what to do with the fire. Very clear, knowing what to do, uniting fire and water, which is difficult for you. You don't like water so much. And after you sleep, right? You understand, okay, the 4 appears this. Yes, I can be a fierce energy. I can be here, this goddess. And then on the position of the world comes here the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is that one thought, is that clear thought that makes you look back, makes you look further into the soul path, right, into the new moon path. And then you have 7 swords. And 7 swords is Venus in Aquarius. And Venus in Aquarius is then the quarrel, is then that we're doing things that are maybe not you proud of, but you have that one thought here. You have crystallized in the sleep what to do. And what are you doing? Looking at the details, looking into the focus. And see now, she's looking at it. She turned her head inwards and she's looking at the details, at the 5, because here we have the 3, the 21 calculated together, and the 1 is the 4. The 4 elements, the Emperor knows how to look at this, how to look at the 8, which is you, right? And know that here comes the emotional intelligence at you, and you see it. You see now what all of this is about. You see now how she sees what she's holding in her hand, the world. Here's the world. Every circle is a world, and you are creating a new world. As you can see here, the world is when we become aware of how we think and how we use, right, life, borders and lessons, but at the same time we focus and we take one step after the other, right? We take that step here into the knowledge, into then also the mountain, right? Into then we letting go. Here's the 7 of the emotional intelligence. People who sleep a lot, they feel happier. They really like understand how important it is to sleep. And then here you see again the 4 looking at the 8, and then you see the emotional intelligence coming at her, right? It's almost like you could do this, but you see the details, the step by step, how the reading is closing here, how the reading is literally saying, yes, take life step by step and don't rush, don't hurry, be focused, be the creator, be the Zen master, be, right, the shaman, be the knowledge, be the mystical shaman who is also looking to the left. There, introverted, we know we find true power deep within us. Wow. I hope I see you in the next reading, because that's when we get the sun in Aries, and Aries came up here with the 2 of Wands, learning how to use fire, right, so that it doesn't burn you. That's in the next reading. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.